right, perfect, guys. So again, today for our training call, we're going to do more of a case study. And for today's case study, I have, if I could say, one of the top sharers in the WhatsApp group, and also really someone that's on their way to be a top producer. And that's no other than Mia Treadwell. Mia, can you hear me? Are you on?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm here.
Good stuff. I wish I had some applause in the background, but y'all just go ahead and do a silent applause so Mia can see the appreciation. So Mia has been grinding. She's been working really hard. And one of the things that I like is that you share your success. And I think that's so important, you know, to be able to the reason why we have the WhatsApp group is so that people can see what success looks like, see the people who are having success, so then they can duplicate that success. It's motivating, it's encouraging, it's empowering, and then they can network with that person. You know, if I'm somebody in that group and I see Mia's always posting pictures with her clients and making sales, helping families get protected, I'm going to reach out and I'm going to say, hey, Mia, what leads are you using? You know, how's your schedule? How, you know, just whatever questions that you may have, you know, what's your in-home like? You know, what training videos are you watching to help you be successful in this business? Those are some of the questions that I'm going to be asking. So great job, you know, with how you handle your business, you know, always on live dials and just having a consistent schedule. So real quick, for those that don't know you, just kind of introduce yourself to everybody real quick, Mia.
Okay, so Mia, I am a mom of one. I started insurance, got my license back in September last year. And I was part-time up until April 14th. This year was when my first official full-time FFL schedule started. I have just been learning. I mean, just putting in everything that I hear and reaching out to everybody. I mean, there are some days where I'll call, even for one appointment, like a whole bunch, like at least 5 or 6 different people. Mm-hmm. So I can, until someone answers the phone, I'm gonna do what it takes to actually get the help. And I just say all that to say that I am still learning, still trying to figure out my flow and what works and what doesn't. But I'm not gonna stop. So yeah.
Absolutely. And I like that about you, that whatever it takes mentality, that no quit attitude. It's crucial. At the conference this weekend, Dan Cathy, the owner of Chick-fil-A, was one of the guest speakers, and the interviewer asked him a question where he was like, hey, I hear that pretty much anyone that, you know, gets a Chick-fil-A, because you can actually purchase a franchise of Chick-fil-A and be an owner operator of the company, you know, but the guy said, hey, I've heard that everybody that, you know, purchases a Chick-fil-A is pretty much guaranteed $500,000 a year in income. Is that right? And the first thing Dan Cathy said is, no, that's not correct. There's no guarantees in entrepreneurship. You're going to have to work and earn it. I was like, whoa, that was like, you know, a mic drop right there, because even a company so successful still understands that when it comes to entrepreneurship, there's no guarantees. The only guarantees that, hey, you're going to put in the work, and if you work hard enough, you can get a great reward, but you still got to put in that work. And I feel that you understand that based on the actions that you're putting in. Would you agree?
Definitely. I have seen from day one, really, when I really put in that effort and I'm like out there door knocking and calling and dialing till 9-10 p.m., that's when I actually I'll reap the benefits. But like when I'm doing good and then I take a break, or like even if it's just a couple of days, or I don't dial so hard on the next dial day because I had a good day, I lose every bit of momentum that I had, and then it will take time to get it going again. And so I don't know why I learn things the hard way. I've done that. That's the person that I am. I'm trying to change that, but I'm learning, and it's definitely that you got to put in the work and stay consistent. That's the main thing. It's just staying consistent. So I'm staying consistent.
Absolutely. And that's that's business, how it works. You know, one of the things, Tyler Perry was another guest at our speaker, and he was talking about how people know him for his consistency. Those of you that doesn't know, Tyler Perry is a producer, actor, all of that, screenwriter, and he talks about, you know, because of his consistency, he's able to do what some movie studios take 5 years to do. He does it in 3 years because he stayed consistent doing it. And it's so important. You talked about momentum. When you start working, it's a lot of effort and energy that you put in, so that way you can learn, you know, what you do, and you get better the more you do it. And then, you know, as you stay consistent, it becomes easier. But you got to get through that first phase where it's like, all right, this is a grind. Let's real quick.
100%.
Say again.
I said no, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's kind of break down, what I want to break down is this past weekend, and kind of do, you know, a case study on this past weekend that you had. So obviously you had Dial Day on Thursday. Real quick, just tell everybody what your schedule is, what your business schedule is, so people can understand that, first of all, on a weekly basis.
Yeah, on a weekly basis. So my leads are bought the night before. And I try to buy, if I find the time, or if I'm thinking about it, I'll just go on the CRM throughout the week as well to buy leads, whatever's there. And that's just, so for one, I have enough leads, but for two, I have waited till the last minute and then had to get whatever was there. So I don't want to do that to myself. So just buying my leads, whether it's, you know, Sunday night and then Wednesday night, and then if I can throughout the week. My schedule has just now changed. The school year started, so my daughter it went from me being able to, you know, have my first appointment during the summer at 7 a.m. to now my first appointment and even dials is not going to be until 8:30, 9 a.m. And that's because I've got to drop her off at school. Yeah. So what I do now is on a dial day, I'm starting my dialing at 7:30. So that I have some time to dial before I have to leave to get her to school. And then when I come back, whether it's I'm just right there to dialing. So definitely starting for sure between 8:30 and 9 and going and just dialing till I've got my 15 or my 20. Really, my goal is 20. One of the Mike Schroeds, you guys may know Mike Schroeds, he challenged me to 20 appointments a week, so or per dial day. So I'm trying to stick to the challenge and meet that goal. But yeah, I mean, pretty much I am just dialing when I'm supposed to be dialing. If I don't make my appointments, I'm dialing on the next day. If it's a white space, I'm dialing then. I also make sure that I actually schedule door knocks. So if I have white space on my calendar, I know, okay, boom, there's the door knock I can go to that's right in that area.
And how do you do that real quick? So once you have an appointment set, if you have a gap, how far apart are hourly are your appointments? Is it an hour apart, hour and a half?
It's on the hour, and I'm always late.
I think you froze on me.
But they don't notice when I'm setting those appointments.
Okay. So on the hour, every hour. So then if you say you have a 10 o'clock appointment and then you have a 12, you weren't able to book, 11, that's a space in which you say, okay, let me look at a lead that's in the same area. And then you have that there in case, you have the time, you can then go ahead and just knock on the door and introduce yourself. And you try to sit with them, or are you looking to schedule an appointment with them?
The goal is to sit with them every time. I'm like, hey, I'm here. I do introduce myself. Hey, I'm Mia. I'm the local underwriter who received this request. I actually don't have my leads printed out, but I'll have them on my phone on just a file, and I show them, and they're like, oh, okay, that is me, looking at the phone screen. And so I'll have it on my phone, and sometimes I can get in, then a lot of the times it is setting it for the next day. Okay. Or they just say, no, I'm not interested at all, but at least I did my part in resolving the lead.
Makes sense. No, understandable. Good. So, and then backing up real quick, you purchasing the leads the night before, is there an average spend that you do on a weekly basis when it comes to leads, or each day that you order prior to the dial day?
It's definitely, each time I'm going to buy leads, an average of anywhere from, I'd say 350 to 600 each time. And I try to have at anywhere from 80 to 100 leads.
Mhm.
If they're older leads, like I bought the 1 month leads, I got 75 just 1 month leads, and the remaining 25 are the new instant. I had a mortgage, and so I'll fill in the others, but I know I'll need a lot more of the older leads to actually, to fill up my schedule.
To fill up the schedule. Makes sense. Awesome. Awesome. And the leads you use is everything from the CRM, or you get some outside as well?
No, mine are from the CRM, and I do run Jefferson County in Alabama. So those are the call-in leads.
Okay.
So I've gotten that set up. Miranda helped me with that. But that's just strictly for Alabama. If there were call-in leads for Georgia, Gwinnett County, I would definitely take them, but it's not. So yeah, primarily it's CRM.
CRM leads, and then you majority of your business is in Gwinnett County where you live, but then you do also travel to Alabama. Do you do that once a week or once every run day? How does that work?
Yeah, so the goal is definitely once a week. If for some reason, like this couple weeks ago, I was in Alabama every weekend, and I promised my family I would stay home for a couple of weekends. It was my birthday, and then it was getting my daughter ready for school. So I didn't go to Alabama on those weekends, and I scheduled some FaceTimes. I'll be honest, in person is always the best.
Yeah.
It's just easier for them to understand you and get a feel for you as a person, and understand that you're there to help them. You're not just some other salesman over the phone. So it just feels more personable.
Mm-hmm. It's more relational versus transactional.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. And so I try to go every weekend. Every Saturday is my goal. If I for some reason can't go, or have other plans, then I will set up like the telesales. But every week's the goal.
Perfect. Awesome. So let's get into some of these numbers then. We're looking at just numbers for Saturday. So I know when we talked, you said Saturday you had 9 appointments scheduled. And I just want to focus on Saturday. But how many did you have on Friday? Or was Saturday the only day you ran, or?
No, it was Friday, Saturday. So last Thursday, I don't know. Hey, maybe it was, I don't even know what it was. It was one of those great dial days I think it was like 3 p.m., 3 p.m. I had 21 appointments, and I was fully booked.
Wow. By 3 p.m. you were fully booked.
Fully booked. It was crazy. It was real early in the day. And everybody that was on live, I was just like, this doesn't ever happen. I took advantage of that. I cooked dinner, I cleaned the house, I washed my daughter's, I just did other things.
Yeah.
However,
absolutely.
I could have used that time to book more appointments. There's that.
Yeah. But no, that's to that point though, Mia, that's the beauty of what we do. Like if you could get the job done earlier, then you have some time to do some of the family stuff. So I'm glad you did that, because that's important as well. Especially since it was 21 appointments. It wasn't like you got 11 and you decided to call it quits, right?
Yeah.
Your goal was 20, you hit 21. Come on, girl, take a break. You deserve it.
Yeah, that's kind of how I was feeling. I was like, okay, I made my goal. I went over my goal. And out of that 21, I helped 6 of those families. So yeah, I was still really proud of myself. And really it's crazy because out of that 21, the 6 that I helped were the 6 that really wanted it. They really needed it. They knew how important it was. And it made me feel good to be able to do that for those families,
Perfect. Yeah, absolutely. And I want to break down, you said on Saturday was 9 appointments that day. And then you helped 4 of those families on Saturday out of the 9 appointments. So before we get to the ones that you helped, because I want to actually go through some of the client worksheets and talk about those scenarios, but talk to me about the ones that you didn't help and how you felt about those. Because sometimes, especially as new agents, when you get started, you're going to help less family. You're going to not help more families than you do help, if that makes sense. You're going to have more no shows, more no sales than the sales that you have. And it's really how you handle those that determines, how you kind of, have success in this business. So what was that like, as you're going through, whether it was no shows or no sales? Talk to me about that.
Right. So my first one is actually, it was a Georgia appointment or Georgia client, but I was on my way to Alabama. So pulled over in this truck stop and I FaceTimed her. She answered the call. And when I was talking to her, we already knew that she just got a policy about 3 days ago or prior to that call. So when I initially booked the appointment, I asked her, I said, okay, make sure you have your policy ready. Well, by Saturday, she didn't have it ready. She didn't receive it yet. So we left that appointment as a follow-up. And once she gets her policy in the mail, then we'll be touching base then, because I don't like to name names or whatnot, but I have previously been able to help a client that was with this same company and get better coverage for the money that they were paying. Makes sense. She was definitely interested in that. And she said, she wanted to make sure that it wasn't something that her policy was as they told her it was. So yeah. Have to follow up with her.
Yeah, that's a good thing. And let's pause right there real quick, because that's a good tip. Whenever someone either says I already have coverage on the phone, or you get to the home and they already have coverage, it's important to review that coverage and see what they have, because in a lot of cases, because of what we have access to as brokers, we could put them in a better position. So if somebody says I already have it, don't just immediately say, oh, okay, all right, cool, thanks. Sorry. Right. I never apologize, first of all. That's great. Well, let me ask you, Mia, if somebody tells you on the phone, I already have it, what do you say to that? I know I'm putting you on the spot, but go ahead.
No, you're good. I say a couple different things. Sometimes I'm like, okay, perfect. That's why I'm calling. Other times is, which I just learned this last Thursday, and I think it was you who said it, maybe about I'm the senior manager, it was
that would be Jay.
Maybe Jay, yeah. Yeah, I'm the senior manager calling to make sure that this was handled properly. Something like to that effect. Mm-hmm. Just that I'm doing the policy review to make sure that this was you got all the benefits that you could get, and it's affordable, and I go through that. I mean, it sounds a lot more polished, but
yeah, of course. I put you on the spot. When you're in the moment, they say it just comes right out. But that's great. And so, sometimes you do have to fight a little bit, and I've done that in my career mm-hmm. multiple times, and I've gone and they're like, I remember most recently, a couple weeks back, meeting with a family. They had 2 policies, and there were graded policies, and they didn't know. Now, it's not saying that the rep didn't tell them. It's just that they probably didn't even remember. They didn't pay attention. They just think, hey, I got insurance. And so, things like that, it's important to get the policy, and sometimes even call the insurance company. If it's a business day, call mm-hmm. the insurance company. And this is one of the things that I learned. It's like, have the insurance company tell them what the policy is. Because sometimes if you try to tell them, well, hey, this is this, they might think you're trying to sell them. But if they mm-hmm. hear it from their insurance company, and I'll put it on mute, like, hey, do you know what that actually means? No? Okay, this is what it means. Oh, wow, I didn't know that. Now they're more inclined to, let you help them. So good job there.
No, for sure on that. I've had that happen a couple times in this last week too, where they didn't know what they had. So we did call the company, and we were able to, one time she was in a good position as far as like her budget. She couldn't afford more, and so she was happy with what she had. But the other time they were like, wait a minute, my policy's going up. They didn't know they had an increasing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're going up. Yeah. So you helped, save them some money and put them in a better position with a level premium policy. Great job. And I'm looking at this, the schedule that you sent me. So it looks like your next 2 were sales. So with Mr. Allen, it looks like, and Mr. Drew. So let's talk about Mr. Allen real quick. We'll probably run to maybe 2 or 3 of these. So Mr. Allen was a sale, your second appointment of the day. Do you remember that one?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Talk to us a little bit about kind of how that appointment went.
Yeah. So he had a lot of different things going on. He had an AC guy there. His fiance had left at one point and then came back with the girl. So it was kind of a little all over the place. Yeah. But not to mention, he's a young guy. I'm in my head, I'm going in there. I'm like, okay, CBO 100, Maricold, perfect, boom. And then he hits me with I had a heart attack 4 months ago. I was like, oh, okay. All right. So it was, I called you, I called Terry, and I called Miranda as well. And so between all of that, we were able to get him coverage through Foresters. But it took me first and foremost, when we walked in, the way that I set it up was, hey, can we have a seat at the table here? And so go into the dining room, sit at the table, or I was about to sit, and I noticed he's not turning on the light. I was like, hey, friend, can you turn on the light for me? I can't really see anything in here. So just taking that,
control,
put myself in control, like telling him what to do.
Yeah. And
then I knew he had a spouse. So I was like, hey, is Miss Jamila going to come sit with us? What's she doing? And he was, he called her in. And so she came and was there for a minute, and she ended up going off and helping the AC guy. But I just ran through the client worksheet. Once she knew I was there, once he's sitting down, he's focused, I just start asking, I first tell him, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is what I do. I'm an insurance broker. I've got all these options to find what's best suited for you and your family. And then I asked him, I said, so I only get these for a few reasons. Tell me why I got your information. Why are you looking for the mortgage protection? Tell me what had you call in about it. So he told me. He's like, I got a whole bunch of them in the mail, and I was just calling one and just to figure out what it's even about. And then when he said that, I said, okay. So his why wasn't really serious at that point. But then I start going through the client worksheet. And then I find out he doesn't have any life insurance. He doesn't have a significant savings. He took out money from his 401k to purchase the home. Wow. So he was in a situation where, he needed it. He needed to make sure that if something were to happen to him, if he had another heart attack suddenly, that his daughters and his fiance were going to be okay. Because I asked him, we got to a point where I started showing him the quotes.
Yeah.
And then he was a little skeptical, like it was going to be too much money. And I said, well, tell me this, what happens if you died tomorrow? What does that look like for Jamila and the girls? What does that look like? And I just shut up.
Good.
And he told me. And so at that point, it made sense to move forward. And so we went with something that was a little bit over his budget, but he knew he needed the coverage and he was comfortable with that.
Yeah.
So
that's important because you identified the why. And that's why, that's the most important part for those of you that are new. I know we've got a couple new folks on the call that's tuning in. I see quite a few of you on here actually, which is great. I'm glad to see that. But if you get nothing else from this call, which I'm sure you'll get a lot because Mia has already shared a ton of stuff that I would have written down. But the why is so important. If you could dig in on the why and identify that why, but more importantly, just like Mia just said, have them paint you the picture. She didn't go in there like, hey, if you die tomorrow, then Jamila's going to No, that's not my job. My job is to have you tell me why you need the coverage. And if you can't identify to me why you need it, then I can't help you. Once you get your client to identify and verbalize, like, yeah, I do need this. And here's why, by asking that same question, like, paint me the picture. What does this look like? If I was a day late and you had died yesterday, what does today look like for your wife, for your kids, or whomever, your son, your daughter, whomever? How are they going to pay for this house? How are they going to pay for the funeral? Paint me that picture. And then shut up, like Mia said, and listen. Mm-hmm. And it could be awkward. Sometimes, I don't know, Mia, if you've ever had this where you ask that question in whatever form, and then there's some silence before you get a response. Have that ever happened to you?
I've had silence. I've also had laughter. And then I'm like, but it's not funny. Tell me what it really looks like.
Yep. You have to check them on that point.
Yeah, I saw it in a training. It was Zach Twardowski, and he said he does that. He asked them, what if Bob Joe died yesterday, what does that look like? And he said there have been people that will laugh and then you take away that laughter because it's not a funny moment. Like, you're dead. Your husband, your wife, they're dead. What does that look like? And then they will honestly be like, well, you're right. Hold on now. Let me think about this. And it doesn't become like, it's a little bit awkward to do, but I mean, God, I've realized more and more each day how many people, like, I wish I could help everybody, you know, I wish we could all help everybody, but you need it. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, no, 100%. And did you add on the accidental policy to that one as well? Because I know we had mentioned that.
I didn't.
Okay.
It was too out of his budget.
Okay, makes sense.
But
no problem.
He kind of left it like, you know, I want to get used to paying this mortgage, and then we can look into adding some additional coverage. But he said he wants to get used to paying that mortgage because this was the first month. They've only been there a week now. So, yeah.
Okay. Makes sense. Absolutely. And for those of you that are health licensed, Mutual of Omaha has the Guaranteed Advantage accidental policy, which goes up to $500,000. It's a great add-on to any sale that you make. I think the ages on that is up to 70. Double check just to be sure. But it's a great add-on to, you know, bolster the coverage, especially if you have someone that's younger that can't qualify for term. And, you know, let's say they're 40. And you've got to write them 40,000 with Americo, then you can add on some accidental to it to make sure they have, you know, additional coverage in case death is due to an accident. All right, good stuff, Mia. So I see you went on to Jefferson, you made a sale there, and then you had a 1 p.m. and a 2 p.m. Looks like, were those no sales, no shows?
Yeah, so the 1 p.m., I was so behind. I was 2 hours behind. And I knew in my head he wasn't going to be there because he pretty much told me on the phone. He's like, I had another guy come out here. You're a day too late. And this is when I was booking the appointment. He's like, yeah, you're a day too late. I know I can only qualify for this much. And pretty much, I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste mine. So I kind of did an appointment with him over the phone. I was like, look, I'm going to see you Saturday and I'm going to see you between 12 and 2 p.m. I said, I promise I'm not going to waste your time, but I'm going to do my homework and see if we can't get you some better coverage. And so he agreed to that. And the goal was to actually just let him have me in the house, because I was going to try to just focus on the value of actually having something versus having nothing. Like, he has no life insurance. And he has this $369,000 mortgage he's trying to protect for his wife.
Yeah.
And so, but I didn't get in the house. I was 2 hours late. So went to call the FaceTime. Of course, I was 2 hours behind on that one as well. So she didn't answer. And this lady, my 2 p.m., she actually, she was out of town, so that was why I scheduled her as a FaceTime.
Makes sense.
So,
absolutely. And did you reach out to either one of those to reschedule them today as yet?
I have not reached out to them today yet. I did reach out to both of them that same day.
Okay.
Got a no answer. So, I mean, I'll definitely still follow up. The goal is to get in the house with both of them. So
yeah, absolutely. And the way I normally approach that, you know, I'll be like, hey, Mr. Joe, man, everybody was getting insurance on Saturday. I was running behind. I don't know if you got my message, but either way, I'm back in the area, you know, XYZ. I know this is Birmingham, so this is your weekend run. So you just have to let them know, hey, I'll be back in the area on Saturday. I definitely want to make sure I at least get this information to you. And then, you know, just go about it. And the way I look at that, their reaction, right? It could be, hey, yeah, you know what? No, I'm no longer interested. And then I might just put them in as a door knock. Or if there's somebody that's going to be my client, the reaction is always positive. And the way I view things, everybody, you could view it differently, but you know, if somebody is going to be my client, I feel like, you know, with what I do, God's kind of ordained those individuals for me, and they're going to understand and they're going to allow me to come back out and help them. If they're going to be nasty about it, it's not an issue. And typically they're not, by the way. But just in case, you know, anyone's wondering. And that happens sometimes if you're helping a family, like you sold those last two. So your 11 and 12 were both sales. So you were in the house probably at least an hour each, maybe a little bit more. And then you got drive time. So that's what puts you behind. And that happens. And do you tell your clients up front, like, hey, give me a little grace, you know, 30 minutes on either side?
I do. And I just know that man, he was like pretty much on the phone, almost not wanting to give me the time of the day, but he was like, all right, we'll see. But I got things to do. So, and I said, well, I won't keep you waiting all day. And I feel bad because I kept him waiting.
Not all day. It wasn't all day. It was just a couple hours. And you called him, so you're good. But you didn't let that interrupt your day. I see you went on and made 2 more sales. But I do want to back up real quick because I just saw you put a 70 next to Jefferson. Is that his age?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So let's just touch on that real quick because I see it was a mortgage protection. So this was a call-in mortgage protection lead, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so guys, several lead types are available in the CRM. In the middle of the CRM, you have your mailers, and then you have mortgage mailers, final expense mailers. And I think the second chance call-in leads fall into that category as well. You can also reach out to leads@familyfirstlife.com to get a list of the availability for new call-in leads. Call-in leads is someone that's recently refinanced or gotten a new mortgage. They receive a postcard about protecting that mortgage with some life insurance, and they called in to inquire about it. They either answer 6 questions and they become like the top tier lead, or they won't answer a few of the questions and they're like the second level lead. That affects the pricing. But it's a great lead to incorporate in addition to your internet life leads or your Facebook or your YouTube leads. So we've got Jefferson. He's 70 years old. He's got a mortgage. And obviously, 70 years old, insurance is going to cost more. So how did you kind of break that down? One, what was his why? And then what did you do to, help him get some protection in place?
Okay, so Jefferson, he's single man, no spouse, kids are all grown. And at first I was thinking, okay, this is going to be like, I was trying to figure out his why. Well, this, you guys know, because you were in the chat, but this house that he was trying to protect is honestly, it should be a museum. I mean, it was full of history. It was full of stories about, Martin Luther King Jr. himself sat here and had conversations with mom and dad, and they had the NAACP had meetings here in this home. And so the home was built in 53 and he was raised in that home. And so it's special to him for many, many reasons, but he wanted to preserve that home and keep it in his family, so that his family always has that piece of history.
Makes sense.
To him, it wasn't, budget was sort of a thing, but he knew he was going to be paying a higher premium due to his age. But I mean, I just, once he told me about, the history and I'm like, well, who are you protecting this for? And we kind of went down the story about he has 3 children, 3 daughters, pair of twins, and then the eldest. And so that the fact that they're grown, it was just pretty much figuring out why. And he just wants to keep that house in his family for however long he can.
Yeah.
No one's gonna be moving into it or anything like that. They're not gonna sell it. He wants to preserve it for his family.
Yeah, so, and what did you? What kind of protection strategy did you put in place? Like, what product did you use and coverage amount?
Yeah, so ended up getting him covered with Prosperity. It was the family freedom term. Okay. He was looking for 56,000. So we looked at the 50,000. I looked at the 75 and 100, just more coverage, seeing what, maybe we could include some burial in there. And one thing I learned too is like when I'm showing the quotes, I always put the highest one at the top and then work my way down from that. And then, so I started at 100,000 is only this much. And then 75,000 is only this much, and then 50,000 is this much. But the important thing about all of that is I've gotten to the point now where I get so tired of just showing quotes. I will tell people, sometimes I do it before I show the quote, and then sometimes I do it after, but I will tell them, look, I can show you this all day, but it means nothing if I cannot get you qualified.
Makes sense.
There's no point in thinking, about the amount, thinking what's going to work. We need to get you qualified first, get you covered, and then we can move things around. And so he was like, okay, perfectly fine at that point. So yeah, I just, that's been a huge change in what I was doing when I first started in this business to now, is just being okay with telling people what I have to do my job the right way. Like, I can sit here and show you guys amounts, but that means there's nothing for you to think about, nothing for us to, oh, the 75, oh, the $50. It doesn't make any sense if we don't even know that you're eligible,
Yeah.
So that's been
great.
a huge thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And that just, one, stresses the importance of, hey, let's get something in place, because a lot of times, obviously, they filled out a form or they called in, whether it was online via mail or, they call in over the phone, they know they need it. And it's just up to us to help them get it. And let's not procrastinate. Let's not delay. Let's go ahead and get this taken care of today. So that's phenomenal. You're one of the things to see. So you had 21 appointments, and this is a lesson for those of you that are new. 21 appointments, 6 families protected out of the 21. So that means there was 15 families that either were no sales, no shows, rescheduled, a missed appointment, whatever the situation may be. But there were 6 families that were protected. And the cool thing about that, one, it lets you understand that this is a huge numbers game. You put the numbers in your favor. Each family is important. We focus on making sure that we love the one that we're with, and we help them tell us why they need it and be able to get that protection in place. But even if it's only 6 out of 21, the average Family First Life average per policy average is $1,189. So let's do some math real quick, right? You got your calculator, Mia? I'm gonna need your help with this.
All right, let's do it.
So let's say you were a producer, okay, and you had 100% commission, okay, and the average policy is $1,189. So let's do first $1,189 times six families protected. What number is that?
It's 7134.
7134. Okay, and so if you're a producer at 100% commission, your commission for helping that family would be 7134, which is the annual premium, that the clients pay, using the Family First Life average of 1189. And that's, over the weekend, you went out, helped 6 families out of 21 appointments that you had scheduled. And then the insurance companies advance 75% of that. So what's 75% of that 7134?
5350.
5350 is the advance deposit that the insurance companies would pay out if that were the case for those sales. And so when you think about that, who in America would not want to be in a position where they can go out on a weekend to help people here and meet some really cool people like Jamila and her husband? I think I forgot his name already, but I remember Jamila because it's close to Jermaine, and the gentleman with the all that history in his home, and have interesting conversations and get people protected, and have an opportunity to make a great living providing for their family. I mean, that's pretty awesome, isn't it?
It is 100% awesome. Like I tell you, I'm a lover of history, so I think I probably spent too much time in that house, but it was definitely worth it just because we were able to get him helped. I mean, and absolutely. I had a little nice history lesson. So
yeah, absolutely. You get some cool stories to share, and you got some income coming in this week. So that's pretty awesome. So thanks for sharing. We'll take 1 or 2 questions and then we'll wrap this up. I don't know if anybody might have a question for Mia. Drop it in the chat if you do have a question, just so we could keep some order here. We'll take a second. While we're waiting for some questions, Mia, anything that you would want to share with everyone on this call?
Couple of things. Definitely always reach out to whomever, even have a person that you reach out to on your running day. someone that's going to be positive for you. You know, I know sometimes I've had days where I've had 10 appointments and not helped one person. And I'm calling Miranda like, oh my God, Miranda, is it me? What am I doing wrong? And it may be that I'm not tying down the appointments good enough. It may be that I am just not like, I'm not being pretty much tying it down to the phone. But then also, hey, we're going to have no shows. We're going to have people be porches. And we just got to keep going. We're sifting through those people that don't really want or need the insurance. And that's okay. It's all part of the game. And then, like I was saying earlier, just being consistent in the growth and in the activity. That's huge, because like I said, I've had times where I've been doing really, really, really good. And then I take a little break or go on a vacation, and then I'm right back to, oh, it was a, crappy day on the phone. So then I'm feeling discouraged, but it's not, I mean, we're going to have those days. Mm-hmm. Avery, you were asking about prosperity. It's the family freedom term. So yeah, really just like, and keeping a positive attitude. I mean, yeah. I think I've had a lot of talks with a few different people on here just about being positive and not letting the phones frustrate you, or people out in the, whether it's in the home and getting porched, but like hearing Princess say, "Oh, bless you, honey," like stuff like that. Just like reminding yourself to stay positive, and people may be having a bad day, and that same person that gave you attitude today or right now, you can call them the next dial day or an hour later, and they might be in a better mood. Yeah. So it's just like not letting it affect you, and just keep on pushing and keep on, staying consistent and have a positive attitude about it all. Because I don't know about you guys, and I'm not trying to push it on nobody, but I pray a lot. Yeah. I pray a lot. Before I go into a home, I'm praying. When I wake up, I'm praying. I'm not just, so I say all that to say that I just feel very blessed to be able to go out and help these families. I mean, I feel blessed that I'm in this position where I can in some way help. Because for a long time, I always wondered, like, what was my purpose in life? Amen. And and it may sound, I don't care how it sounds, but being able to help people even in this way, it means a lot to me. I mean, it's fulfilling for my soul to be able to help people. Yeah. And yeah, so that's it.
Powerful that you said that, because how many people out there are doing a job and don't feel the fulfillment? Mm-hmm. I could raise both my hands to say I was in that position until I found insurance. And that's a big part of why I do what I do, because of that fulfillment. The feeling of fulfillment, not just financially, because you can make money doing a lot of things. Now, there's not a lot of things that you can make money like how you could do with insurance, but you can make money doing a lot of things. But as far as fulfilling wise, I mean, so many people are searching for that. And you hit the nail on the head right there. What we'll do with these questions, just for the sake of time, I don't want this call to run over. Mia, I'm going to drop these questions into the WhatsApp chat, and then you could just post a quick answer to these, just so we can kind of just keep time, because we're coming up on 2:00. But I appreciate you, getting on, sharing, being transparent. Love the attitude, love the activity that you're putting into your business. And I know keeping that consistent, you're going to continue to have success and continue to grow here. So thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, that's the goal. Thank you guys for having me.
Y'all drop some thanks in the chat for Mia, please. Let her know you appreciate her sharing, and we'll get those questions answered. So